Hey guys, my name's Alex, and welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about the updates I've made to the first-person fantasy RPG I'm making in Unreal Engine 5. We're going to be talking about the new enemy faction I've created, and updates to combat, interior, and exterior environments. So, let's get started. One of the main things I've been working on over the past 2 weeks is the primary armor set for the main antagonistic faction in my game. Without getting too much into the details, I wanted this faction to be unknown invaders who've arrived from the north and are now posing a threat to the region where the game is set. Invaders from the north is quite a common concept in fantasy, for example, the forces of chaos that exist in the Warhammer Fantasy universe. So I wanted to differentiate my enemy from them, and really give them their own flavor. Whereas chaos is heavily inspired by Viking raiders and barbarians, I wanted my faction to be highly organized, precise, and technologically advanced. For fantasy setting, that is. So think rudimentary firearms and explosives. I wanted their style to be almost regal and elegant. They are a group that think very highly of themselves, and they would show that in the way they present. They will have finely crafted weapons and armor and structures, but this will be almost in contrast to their more cruel nature, and a type of affliction and connection to fire that the player will learn more about as they play the game. For this reason, I made the armor very elegant, but I added some sharper angles to try to highlight their more aggressive nature. I've been working on some variations of the armor with different colors to perhaps distinguish different ranks or purposes. There are also some heated metal versions that are still in development that are linked to their association with fire, which I spoke about earlier. One item I still need to make for this armor set is the armor and cloth that will go around the waist. I just had too many other things to work on at the moment, but I'll definitely get around to it. Now, let's talk about combat. There have been a few adjustments and some new additions that I'm excited to talk about. Firstly, I have added a new weapon to the roster, and that is the longsword. It does more damage and has a far longer reach, but costs more stamina per swing. I also have made stamina more important by making every swing cost stamina. I originally didn't want to do this, but I realized that making stamina more important gave combat a better flow, and ensured that the player couldn't just spam attacks. Other adjustments have been that the player character is now true first person, so you can see your whole body when you look down. I decided to make this change as I wanted to be able to have more interesting animations, like this new kick ability which can be used to stun an enemy, and to have more interesting animations such as a death animation. This upgrade also gave me better control over how I animate the player's camera, which is very useful when I'm making or adjusting combat animations. Along with all of this, I've also been testing a healer enemy type, and I've gotten some of the healing functionality working, but at the moment it's just a normal melee enemy that has been augmented with healing powers, almost like a paladin. But ideally I want to have a dedicated ranged healer, which will take a lot more work, but it's a start. I just want to take a moment to say, if you're enjoying the content so far, please leave this video a like, it really helps. I already introduced you guys to the forest that I'm working on, and I've been continuously updating it, and there have been some big changes. By adjusting the foliage I'm using, and also adjusting the weather and the post-processing effects for the environment, I've managed to capture the dark vibe I'm looking for a little bit better. This is still far from finished, but it's making progress. I've also made rudimentary torches that'll be scattered throughout the forest to provide some light in the darkness. Along with this, I've also replaced the previous grass I was using with a new one that I've made from scratch in Speedtree, which I find to be a much better fit. There have been many smaller additions and upgrades since you last saw this area, and like I said, there is still a ton of work to do, but I'm getting closer to what I'm going for. The next thing I want to do for this area is I want to create more tree variations in order to make areas of very thick forest. Another aspect of forests are ponds, lakes, and rivers, and for these I've been creating a custom water shader. For still bodies of water, It is looking really good and has a bunch of customization options to match the tone of the scene. But I still need to finish the functionality to add floating objects like algae or lily pads on the water, and also the feature that will make it look like running water so I can use it for rivers. Finally, something I've been working really hard on and have been trying to get really right are interior spaces in the game. A large part of this is the items and furniture and other clutter that fill these spaces and brings them to life. So after looking at tons of references and trying to nail down a vibe that I'm going for, I've started making several different pieces of furniture from shelves, room separators, chairs, and benches. At the time I was making these, I wanted the furniture to be fairly simple and not too fantastical, but I'm not sure if that's still the direction I want to go with. I'm going to be playing around with a couple of different styles and see how I can augment what I currently have, as I think everything is blending together a bit too much, and some more variety in color and style might be a good thing. One major issue though is that I'm not 100% satisfied with the scale of the interior spaces. I think I might need to make rooms a bit taller to ensure that they don't feel too cramped, but unfortunately this will require a lot of redesign for my buildings. But I think it's necessary to get a result that I'm proud of. It also shouldn't be too hard, seeing that I already have my personal pipeline pretty much streamlined, especially when it comes to 3D models for the environment. So this is everything that I've been working on since my last video. We actually finally hit 1,000 subscribers, and I think we're just over that now. We're like at 1,054, 55 subscribers, which is really, really awesome. For me, that's just like a ton of people. When I first made this channel, I told myself that I would be really happy if we got 100 subscribers. That seemed like a good number to me, and the fact that there's 1,000 of you who liked what I was making enough and are interested in the game enough to subscribe really means a lot. So I just want to let you guys know that I really do appreciate it, and thank you. Anyway, that's it for today's update. If you guys have any thoughts or ideas, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you guys. If you're a new viewer, please feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.